My name is Sydney and I'm 34 years old. My mom was planning to make me watch 5 kids over Christmas. She didn't ask. She announced it like it was already decided. Like my time, my plans, and my sanity were just items she could casually cross off her holiday checklist. It started with a group family call in early December. One of those forced holiday planning video chats, where everyone pretends to smile, while silently dreading what's coming next. I had just poured myself coffee, still in my pajamas, when my mom cleared her throat and said, "So, Sydney will stay home and watch the kids over Christmas." I actually laughed at first because it sounded so ridiculous. 5 kids, my sister's 3 under the age of 7, and my cousin's twins, toddlers who treated silence like a personal enemy. "Sorry, what?" I asked, thinking I misheard. My mom didn't miss a beat. She smiled that tight smile she uses when she thinks she's being generous. "It'll be good for you. You don't have kids of your own, and everyone else deserves a break." That was the moment something in me snapped. Not loudly, not dramatically, just a quiet, cold realization that this wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a plan they'd made without me, assuming I'd fold like I always had. Christmas Eve babysitting. Christmas Day babysitting. Late nights, early mornings. Tantrums, diapers, chaos, while everyone else ate. Drank, laughed, and called it family time. I reminded her calmly that I had already booked time off work and had my own plans. My mom waved it away. "You can relax later. Family comes first." That phrase hit me like a slap. Family comes first, except when it comes to respecting me, except when it comes to my boundaries, except when it comes to asking instead of ordering. Over the next week, the messages kept coming. My sister sent me smiley face texts like, "You're such a lifesaver." My aunt joked about how I'd be exhausted but fulfilled. No one asked if I agreed. They all spoke as if it were settled law. I started sleeping badly, waking up with a tight chest, replaying the holidays I'd already lost to just help out for a bit. I saw myself again at 26, missing a New Year's trip because I was needed. At 30, stuck cleaning up after kids while everyone else toasted champagne. Then 3 days before Christmas, I got the final confirmation. A family group message. My mom typed, "Kids will be dropped off at Sydney's place Christmas Eve morning. Thanks again." That was it. No question mark. No room to breathe. I stared at my phone for a long time, my hands shaking, not from fear, but from anger so sharp it finally cut through years of guilt. That night, I did something I had never done before. I opened my laptop, went to a flight website, and searched for the first plane out of town on Christmas Eve. I didn't overthink it. I didn't call anyone. I didn't explain myself. I booked the ticket. One way, early morning, window seat. As soon as the confirmation email hit my inbox, I felt lighter than I had in years. On Christmas Eve, while my mom was probably packing snacks and labeling kids' bags, I was boarding a plane. I remember gripping my boarding pass, heart pounding, not with regret, but with a strange, unfamiliar excitement. The moment the plane took off, my phone buzzed nonstop. Missed calls. Messages piling up. I didn't check them. For once, I chose silence. I landed a few hours later, checked into a small hotel, and ordered room service. I sat on the bed staring at the quiet walls and laughed out loud. No screaming, no crying, no guilt, just me. I thought that would be the end of it, a quiet escape, a peaceful Christmas away from being taken for granted. I was wrong, because that evening my aunt decided to make a family video call. Someone added me without asking. I answered before I could stop myself. The screen filled with faces, my mom, my sister, my cousin. The kids already restless in the background. My mom looked furious. "Where are you?" she demanded. "I'm not home," I said. "I told you I had plans." That's when my aunt, holding her phone too close to her face, said, "Well, since we're all here, I might as well read this out loud." She held up a piece of paper. My stomach dropped. I recognized it instantly, a letter my grandmother had sent weeks ago, asking my aunt to read it to the family on Christmas if she wasn't there. The room went quiet as my aunt began to read. Halfway through, my sister's smile disappeared. My mom's face went pale. Someone gasped. Another whispered, "What?" My aunt's voice shook as she continued. her eyes darting between the page and the screen. By the time she finished, every single person was staring like they'd just watched the floor disappear beneath them. My mom opened her mouth, then closed it again. My cousin swore under her breath. One of the kids started crying, confused by the sudden tension. All I could think was, what my aunt read out loud on the family video call made every single person gasp. I heard my sister say, "This can't be happening." My mom finally whispered, "What? This can't be happening!" I sat there on a hotel bed hundreds of miles away, realizing that boarding that plane wasn't just an escape. It was the first move in something much bigger, and none of them saw it coming. The screen stayed frozen for a few seconds after my aunt finished reading, like even the internet needed time to process what had just happened. My mom was the first to recover, her face tight, lips pressed together so hard they almost disappeared. "That letter is outdated," she said quickly, too quickly. Mom was emotional when she wrote it. But my aunt shook her head. "It's dated last month," she replied. "And it's notarized." What she had read, what made every single person gasp, was my grandmother's explanation of her will and the reason behind it. She had written plainly, painfully clearly, about watching how I'd been treated for years, how I was always expected to sacrifice, how I was labeled independent only when it was convenient for everyone else. She wrote that she had quietly helped me financially, invested money in my name, and legally protected it from family interference. Then came the line that changed everything. She had transferred control of a trust to me alone, effective immediately, and named me the executor of several family assets after her passing. My sister stammered, "That's not fair." My cousin demanded to know why she hadn't been told. My mom finally snapped, "Sydney manipulated her." That accusation used to terrify me. This time it didn't. I took a slow breath and said calmly, "I didn't even know about the letter until right now." Silence again. The kids were ushered out of the room, sensing something serious had cracked open. My aunt adjusted her glasses and added, "There's more." She explained that the trust included conditions, very specific ones. Any family member who tried to pressure, threaten, or publicly shame me would automatically forfeit access to future financial support tied to shared properties. The irony was almost poetic. The same people who thought they could bully me into watching 5 kids over Christmas had just disqualified themselves by doing exactly that. My mom's face went red. "So what, you think you're better than us now?" she said. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't smile. I just said the truth. "No, I think I'm done being treated like free labor." That's when my sister lost it. She accused me of ruining Christmas. She said I abandoned family. She said I was selfish for boarding a plane instead of stepping up. And for the first time in my life, I didn't defend myself. I didn't explain. I didn't apologize. I let her words hang there, empty and exposed. My aunt finally interrupted, saying quietly, "This didn't start today. It just ended today." My mom ended the call abruptly. Just like that. Black screen. No goodbye. I stared at my phone, waiting for the familiar wave of guilt to crash over me. It never came. Instead, there was relief. Deep, steady, undeniable. I ordered dessert, turned on the TV, and spent Christmas Eve exactly how I wanted, in peace. The fallout came later. Messages trickled in over the next few days. Some angry, some fake nice, some suddenly respectful. My mom didn't speak to me for weeks. My sister tried once, testing the waters, asking if I could help out a little financially since I was doing so well. I said no. It was the easiest no I'd ever said. Here's the part no one talks about. Setting boundaries doesn't feel powerful at first. It feels lonely. It feels like standing in the cold after closing a door you were trained to keep open. But over time, that cold turns into clarity. I started therapy. I traveled more. I stopped explaining my choices to people who never listened anyway. Months later, my aunt visited me. She admitted she'd been scared to read that letter out loud, but she knew it was the right thing. They needed to hear it, she said. And you needed to leave. She was right. So on Christmas Eve, I boarded a plane, and in doing so, I finally chose myself. Now when I think back to that moment, my mom assuming I'd sacrifice again, my family shocked into silence, the words, "What? This can't be happening." Echoing through that video call, I don't feel anger. I feel gratitude. Gratitude that I listened to that quiet voice inside me. Gratitude that I didn't stay. If you've ever been treated like your time doesn't matter, like your boundaries are optional, like your worth is tied to how much you give up, this story is for you. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do isn't staying and fixing everything. Sometimes it's leaving, even if it means boarding a plane alone on Christmas Eve.